Good morning, sir. My name is Reshila Palninathan and my teammates' name is Vardarajan Ramesh and Ongsujan. We would like to present about macro and micro challenges in procurement. Next slide. This will be the table of content. Next slide. What is procurement in micro and macro? In procurement, micro and macro perspective for understanding the broader and more detailed element that impact purchasing and supply chain activities. Micro procurement focus on the internal factor within an organization, emphasizing the day-to-day operational and specific purchasing decision. Involve analyzing supply relationship, negotiating contract, and managing inventory to ensure cost-effective and timely deliver of goods and service. On other hand, macro procurement address the broader economy and market influences that affect procurement strategy and practices. It consider external factors such as global supply chain trade, economic fluctuation, and change in trend regulations. I will pass it to my teammates.
Good morning. Today I'll be explaining about macro challenges in procurement. Next slide. And first of all is environmental and sustainability pressures. Environmental and sustainability pressures have become critical macro challenges in procurement, impacting how companies source materials, select suppliers, and design their supply chain. With growing emphasis on sustainability and corporate social responsibility, procurement teams face pressures to source materials responsibly and reduce environmental impact. Here is some data that shows how environmental and sustainability become more challenging procurement for global companies. Euromonitor Sustainability Survey 2023 found that 74% of the global companies face government pressures to adopt climate conscious measures. This highlights the increasing importance of sustainability in procurement decisions. Businesses are now aligning procurement with intentional frameworks like sustainable development goals and environmental, social, and governance criteria to address environmental challenges. Next slide. And this is my case study for this point, that is Walmart sustainability criticism. Walmart faced criticism for its environmental impact, including high emissions and unsustainable supply practices. Walmart has faced challenges related to environmental and sustainability pressures, which have had noticeable impacts on its operational and public image. Here are some impact that Walmart faces due to sustainability challenges. First is reputational damage has led to public backlash, reducing its attractiveness among environmental conscious consumers. Next is decline in customer and loyalty and compliance risk. Next slide. And this graph illustrates the financial and customer impact Walmart experienced between year 2000 and 2005 due to sustainability related criticism. Headline shows a steady decline in the customer base percentage over the years, indicating the loss approximately 8% of customers during this period. And share price, the blue line shows the consistent drop in Walmart's hypothetical share price, reflecting reduced investor confidence and reputational damage tied to criticism over environmental and sustainability practices. Next slide. And my next point is consumer demand and market volatility. Consumer demand shift and market volatility present macro challenges in procurement, impacting how companies source, manage costs, and respond to rapid market changes. Here in depth look how these factors affect procurement. According to Global Procurement Trends 2024, 62% of the businesses expect on ongoing worsening supply chain disruptions, largely driven by fluctuating consumer demand and global economic volatility. And cost demand fluctuations were identified as primary disruption in procurement operations globally. These issues are compounded by geopolitical tensions and supply fragility. Next slide. And my case study for this point is the impact of COVID-19 on procurement in the Toyota automotive industry. During COVID-19 pandemic, Toyota faced disruption in global supply chain. The company had to navigate a shift in consumer demand, decline in sales during lockdown, followed by surge post-lockdown, and market volatility that is fluctuating raw material prices and factory shutdowns. Here's some data that impacts that Toyota had. Toyota global sales dropped by 15% in the 2020 due to supply chain disruptions and lower consumer demand. Toyota operating profit declined by 20% in the fiscal year 2020 and primarily due to lower sales volume and increased procurement costs. Next slide. And this table data shows Toyota impact due to demand shift and market volatility. As we can see in the table, the global sales were decreasing, production was down, faces supply chain disruptions due to parts shortages and raw material price hikes. Next slide. And my last point for this macro is cybersecurity threats. As procurement processes have become increasingly digital, the risk of cyber threats grows. Cybersecurity breaches can expose sensitive information, disrupt procurement operations, and damage supplier relationships. And this data shows the Global Procurement Survey from KPMG in year 2023 highlights the several challenges procurement organizations face, particularly with the increasing risk posed by cybersecurity threats. Cybersecurity is one of the top 5 risks for procurement, and 64% of the respondents pointing to the supply chain risk, including cyber threats, as major challenges. And for robust security protocols, as 40% of the leaders acknowledge that securing their data and protecting digital assets remain an ongoing challenge, and also, in fact, 59% of the respondents cited supply risks such as cyber attacks and data breaches as critical barriers to meeting their sourcing objective. Next slide. And this is my case study for this point is SolarWinds cyber attacks. In year 2020, SolarWinds, a Texas-based IT management company, became the target of one of the most sophisticated cyber attacks were recorded. Hackers comprised SolarWinds Orient software used thousands of companies and government agencies worldwide to access sensitive data. This attack was a supply chain attack which infiltrated organizations to trusted vendors. Here's some impact on procurement that SolarWinds faces. First is supply risk. Procurement processes become vulnerable as trusted third party were compressed. Next is operational disruptions. The breach caused by operational delays in procurement activities for companies. And last is financial losses. Company had to spend resources to perform cybersecurity audits, recover from the breach, and fortify their procurement system. Next slide. And this pie chart shows how sectors get affected due to SolarWinds cyber attacks. As we can see, 44% of the targets were in the information technology sector, including software firms, IT services, and equipment producers. And that's all for me. I pass to my friend. Thank you.
And now I'm going to explain about some of the micro challenges that can be found in procurement. We're going to start it off with bad supplier communication. Ineffective communication, distrust, and misaligned goals with suppliers can cause delays, stock shortages, and disruptions in the supply chain. This can lead to production halts, missed deadlines, and dissatisfied customers. In the 2023 Deloitte Global Chief Procurement Officer Survey, nearly 60% of chief procurement officers reported that poor or irregular communication with suppliers had led to increased procurement costs. These higher costs often stem from the need for faster shipping or the last-minute need to source materials from alternative suppliers. For a specific case study, we can take a look at how Apple encountered significant procurement difficulties due to the global shortage of semiconductor chips. Although the company had arranged contracts with chip manufacturers like TSMC ahead of time, issues with supplier communication and a lack of alignment between Apple and its partners resulted in delays and production setbacks. Poor communication with suppliers had several negative effects on Apple, including production delays, which can disrupt manufacturing timelines, and this also led to revenue losses as the company struggles to meet demand. Additionally, a backlog of customer orders have also built up, further impacting customer satisfaction and the company's reputation. And as one can see here, based on these statistics, these are the struggles that people in procurement or the supply chain in general are facing due to poor supplier data. Moving on, there are also labor shortages, as vendors and third-party providers may also face challenges in staffing positions, as well as achieving production targets and fulfilling the requirements of the procurement team and customers. A 2023 survey conducted by the Institute for Supply Management found that 73% of procurement professionals in the manufacturing industry experience longer lead times as a result of labor shortages. The delays in procurement, particularly of semiconductors, have had a profound impact on Toyota's operations specifically. The company's production capacity was significantly reduced due to its procurement team's struggles to secure the necessary components in a timely manner. As a result, Toyota was forced to cut its global production forecast by 40%, which translated into a loss of approximately 500,000 vehicles. And as one can see here again, these are the percentages of how much labor shortages are making it hard for the respective figures in procurement and the supply chain in general to operate. And finally, there are also maverick purchasing issues, where when employees make purchases without following approved procurement procedures, it can result in higher costs, violations of contract terms, and greater exposure to risks. According to a Deloitte study, 56% of companies experiencing significant maverick purchasing struggle with inadequate spend visibility, making it challenging to track procurement data and manage expenses effectively. Dell Technologies, a global leader in IT hardware, software, and services, follows a well-organized procurement process. However, similar to other large organizations, it also faces challenges with unapproved or maverick spending. The maverick spending at Dell Technologies had significant negative consequences for the company. It led to cost overruns as unapproved or poorly managed purchases exceeded budget expectations. This lack of control also resulted in process inefficiencies where resources were not being utilized optimally, slowing down operations and reducing overall productivity. Additionally, the company's relationships with suppliers were damaged as irregular or non-standard purchasing practices created confusion and mistrust, ultimately affecting the consistency and reliability of their supply chain. And as one can see here, based on the Hackett Group, maverick spending can come with a myriad of consequences for those in procurement and the supply chain in general. In summary, understanding and resolving these challenges at the micro level ensures smoother operations, improved decision making, and better long-term results in procurement. That concludes the micro challenges. I'll let one of my group mates to proceed with the theoretical side of things now.
In the theory part, I would like to talk about the bullwhip effect. Describe how small fluctuation in consumer demand at the retailer level can lead in increasingly large variation in demand upstream in the supply chain, impacting wholesaler, distributor, manufacturer, and raw material suppliers. The phenomena has impaction for procurement at both micro and macro level. Micro level implication for the individual companies, the bullwhip effect lead to inefficiency to the procurement such as overstocking, understocking, and increased costs. Procurement teams may face challenge in accurately forecasting demand and managing supply relationship. This can result in a higher inventory holding cost base and loss sales due to the product not available. Company often adopt JIT, which is just-in-time strategy or demand-driven procurement approach to mitigate these effects. Macro level implications. On the broader economic scale, the bullwhip effect can impact entire industry and national economics. Erratic demand and signal can lead to cycle of overproduction and underproduction, influencing employment rate, economic stability, and even trade balance. For example, in a key sector experience sudden overproduction, it may causes widespread dispersion effective not only suppliers but also global market. Next slide. In the conclusion part, therefore, from a logistics standpoint, micro and macro challenges are inevitable and will always pose challenges to the procurement process. However, in the order monitor and reduce such challenges, it's important to identify the best possible solution to overcome such challenges that may pose to the supply chain. Next. This will be the reference. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
all right. So one of you to answer me this here. Right. Between micro and macro, yeah, which gives the highest impact to procurement? Which micro and which macro?
I would like to say labor shortages because it impacted pretty much the entire organization. It doesn't just impact things at a small level because at the end of the day, it's all rooted into what the people working over there are doing. So with them being out of commission, with them going through certain issues, it can really impact everything in a bad way because
Okay,
they're
all
like
right.
the heart of
Thank
it.
you. I'll stop here.